Welcome to RVcast.com. I'm your host, Dave Stanley, and this is where the road meets real adventure. Today, we're going to take a little bit of a twist, showing you how to experience the RV life without breaking the bank with a potentially huge upfront investment in purchasing an RV. Our guest is Madeline Bourgeray, or Maddi, a travel guru who's roamed nearly all 50 states, 25 different countries, and has experienced a variety of RV options by booking over 20 different RV rentals. As a full-time advocate for RVshare, Maddi's here to spill the secrets on using RVshare, an RV rental platform for budget-friendly, unforgettable trips, from national park bucket list stops to scuba diving in Egypt. Wow. She's got stories and tips to fuel your wanderlust. Buckle up. This episode will give you a great roadmap to affordable RV adventure. Wow, Maddi, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you for taking the time to be on RVcast.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Well, good. So first of all, let's get into what first lit that adventurous candle, if you will, to start that love for travel. And then how did that lead you into becoming an adventure junkie of sorts?
I have been working in travel my entire professional career, and I was extremely fortunate to kind of fall into this industry that really aligned with my passion for travel. Travel bug first bit me back when I was 7 years old. So my grandparents were huge world travelers. They lived all over the world. And when they were about to retire, they decided to move to Roatan, Honduras. And at the time, that tiny island off the Honduras coast was not really a tourist destination. It's still very much off the beaten path. And they said, if you want to come see us, we'll be here. So my parents packed us up, flew us down to Roatan, Honduras. It was my first international trip experience. And I still remember it extremely vividly. It definitely kind of changed my outlook on the world. I was only 7 or 8 at the time, but we, spent days on these deserted beaches, going to villages where, these kids lived in like over the water huts and had a family pig that they would eventually roast as their, big meal for the month. And so I just really got to see the world from a different perspective. And ever since that, I've craved that same adventure. And I feel very fortunate to be able to have that experience. And so I've had that same, soul stirring sensation that travel brings you through a variety of different experiences, whether that's, being on the back of a motorbike in Vietnam or making pasta with an Italian chef in Tuscany. I've had some incredible experiences and I just love travel. And I feel so fortunate to be able to be here today with you to talk about those.
Oh, man, thanks for sharing that. I mean, just hearing you describe that and also feeling your passion for it just makes me excited to spread the word about all the travel adventures that are available. So that initial bug started quite young, 7 years old. And then tell me how it evolved to where you got involved with the RV lifestyle.
Yeah, so growing up, I had relatively normal family. We didn't travel too much, but we did live on the East Coast. So we did have a number of opportunities to travel around the East Coast. And I have memories of clamming in Duxbury, Massachusetts, or spending long beach days in Kennebunkport, Maine. And so we'd always kind of take advantage of those road trips. So we were a big road trip family. Once I kind of understood that travel could be something that I pursue as a passion outside of what my family did, I had saved up to go on a school trip that took me to Europe and eventually moved away to college and studied abroad in London when I got the opportunity. And so when it came down to figuring out, kind of where my career was going to take me, I was studying public relations and marketing. And I remember having a class of just discussing the different industries that you could go into. And I remember them talking about healthcare or banking. And I was like, nothing, that doesn't sound fun to me. Right. And fortunately, at the time I didn't realize you could really work in the travel industry. But I had a friend connection that had, a job opportunity working for Vrbo, which is now owned by Expedia. Back then it was much smaller, and it was kind of an up and coming way to travel with vacation rental. And so I went there to join their marketing team, which is based in Austin, Texas, which is where I live still today. And so kind of got my start through the travel industry working in a peer-to-peer marketplace similar to what I do today at RVshare, and was able to kind of just get my foot in the door. And my love for travel and passion for travel, and also my career in travel, has grown ever since.
Oh, fantastic. And now you're a full-time advocate for RVshare. Tell us a little bit about what is RVshare and what doors that may open for people that are listening.
So RVshare is an RV rental website. We have more than 100,000 RVs for rent across the US. They're all listed and operated by individual owners. So if you own an RV, you could go to RVshare to list and rent it to others looking to travel in an RV, like you and I. And if you're a renter who has never RV before, but has always been interested in it, maybe is curious about what the RV lifestyle is like and wants to maybe buy in the future, you can rent an RV from RVshare. We have 3,000 types of makes and models, whether you're looking for a travel trailer or a Class C motorhome. Yeah, so there's definitely some probably available right in your city, and they range in a variety of price points, but on average, it's about $150 per night. And it also includes insurance and protection. So, there's a lot of built-in guarantees that make getting into RV travel a bit easier than one might assume.
Wow, that's fantastic. And you've experienced it as well. Are you currently a regular RVer?
Yeah, I am. I took a RV trip a few weekends ago. I try to do some leisure trips a few times a year. Perk of working at RVshare is I do get a travel stipend. And so, sign me up for free vacation. I will use that to its fullest. So we do get some, dollars to put towards an RV rental. And yeah, I took one just for a long weekend out to the Texas Hill Country. We pulled a Airstream and had it parked at a campground to enjoy a town called Fredericksburg, which is a fun spot, a historical spot with some cool cafes, antique stores, things like that.
So my mind immediately goes to somebody who does not currently own an RV, but they want to try it out. Even just going back to my own experience of buying our RV, I remember going to the dealership, taking a look at, of course, they show you the biggest and most expensive right off the bat, right? It's easy to get caught up in the moment at the dealership there and get talked into buying something that you may not have wanted. And so RVshare is really, number one, a good opportunity to even try the RV life without buying an RV. And number two, testing out different ones. You're talking, you said average about $150 a night. So even if you took 3 weekends with 3 different types of RVs, you're into it, $900 maybe. That initial investment would be huge to actually experience what each type of RV has to share.
That's right. I think over 30% or 40% of renters that come to our site report that they are renting to try before they buy. So they are looking for a certain make or model that they can try out before they pull that trigger on a larger purchase. I personally have never owned an RV. During the pandemic, like a lot of people thought, oh, that could be a good option for me. Maybe I should look into it. And it was right around the time I started working at RVshare. And I just found that renting fits my lifestyle a bit better. One of the perks for renting and why I haven't become an owner is because I like to fly to the destination and then rent. Texas is a really big state. And so to get out of Texas to go anywhere that I would like to adventure, you're looking at a 9 to 10 hour drive just to do that. So one place I travel often to rent RVs is Salt Lake City. They have great options there. There's a lot of other outdoor adventure like-minded people who own RVs and are renting them out on RVshare. So I fly into Salt Lake and pick up an RV that works for the adventure I'm about to take. And so that's been suitable for for me and my family now for the past few years. We might own in the future, and we learn a lot every time we rent, and our opinion of what we would buy changes every single time.
Right, right. I know just from personal experience, my idea of what kind of RV my wife and I wanted changed right there at the dealership. Like
Really?
I say, we were looking at these big ones, and they're like, "Oh, hey, look, you've got enough room over there for you've got a dining table over there for the adults, and you've got a dining table over here for the little kids, and then another dining table for the teenagers to play games and whatnot." My wife and I looked at each other and thought, RVing is about getting out. We
Yeah.
should be outside. And so we ended up just buying a Sprinter van conversion,
Oh, nice.
which works great for the two of us. We actually are full-time RVers in that. And because of, working around with Curb and Turf and recruiting host sites and also doing this podcast. And so yeah, I feel fortunate enough that thought came to me before we bought, but anybody wanting to try out a few things, that's fantastic. So, which brings us to the idea of, okay, now you've got the rental, where do you park it? Give me your take on what's available out there and what kind of planning would be involved and things like that with various places to camp.
Yeah, so there are, a plethora of options when it comes to camping. Obviously, there are traditional camping with camping resorts and privately owned campgrounds, but people take their rentals to so many different places, whether that is dispersed camping and kind of parking somewhere on somebody else's land or property. And then also we have a lot of people rent for events, sporting events, concerts. They, do music festivals, NASCAR races. I've even rented an RV to put in the front of my parents' house for a family reunion before to add some extra space so that we have more places for people to sleep. So there are really a lot of different ways that you could use and rent RVs. The most popular, of course, is that like quintessential camping trip. And I think you'd be surprised how many people actually just do a one destination type of trip, especially for their first time. No need to go too ambitious and do a cross country road trip like a lot of people have. The RV actually delivered to their destination. So that's a perk that RVshare offers. The owners deliver the RV for you. So if you're looking to rent a travel trailer, maybe you don't have a vehicle large enough to pull it, maybe that intimidates you anyway, you could have the RV delivered to a campground, a state park, a national park, and set up for you. And all you have to do is show up to experience it. So that's a great way to kind of get your foot in the door and kind of get a taste of that RV lifestyle.
I love that concept because, if you're looking to drive somewhere to, let's say, like a national park, you're not spending $150 a night for a hotel that could accommodate, maybe 6 different people. You're going to be spending a lot more than that. And so why not come up with an RV share and do that? I love the gig economy, right? This peer-to-peer, which RV share is. You don't own any of the RVs, or if you do, it's very limited.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And so it's all private owners. And that's exactly the same type of business model that Curb and Turf has, where we don't own the camping spots that are listed on the Curb and Turf app throughout the country. It's really a place that landowners can post their property. And what a great marriage for an RV share and a Curb and Turf stay to meet up. It's a gig economy in both situations. The advantages of the Curb and Turf is that you have a little bit of solitude. Campgrounds are great. Some of them have swimming pools and all the services and everything. But also sometimes you just want to get away. And having some seclusion in a private spot is a nice way to go, which is what Curb and Turf is all about. So yeah, that's one of the reasons that I was so excited for this interview, because I wanted to learn a little bit more about RVshare, how it works and how it can work with Curb and Turf. And it seems like just the perfect partnership.
Absolutely. And I've, stayed on privately owned land before. We did it for the Eclipse. There was a winery out in the Texas Hill Country that was in the path of totality that was renting out spots so that you could park and experience the Eclipse. And I could see that being something you find on, Curb and Turf. And then also, we always say that RVs are home wherever you want to park it. And it's awesome opportunity for when there aren't other hotels or maybe affordable places to stay. Some of these national parks are extremely remote and they only have campgrounds, but maybe those campgrounds fill up. So like when I went to Big Bend National Park out in West Texas, we stayed on some privately owned land about 15 miles outside the park because there's really limited places to camp inside Big Bend National Park, and there's not privately owned campgrounds outside the park. It's very vast, it's very remote. So it was the perfect opportunity. And it is some of my favorite memories and places to stay because you're right, you do get away from it all and you really feel like you're just experiencing this like secret spot in the middle of nowhere.
Well, good. Well, let's go over some potential misconceptions with the RV travel. And do you have any, how would you set the record straight, for instance, based on your decades of experience for overcoming some of those misconceptions?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, people think RV travel is something that might not be a fit for them because it's intimidating, whether that's budget, whether that's driving the RV or planning it as a whole just seems intimidating. Some of the options that RVshare provides is that our owners are super useful. They're the ones renting out the RV. They know their vehicles best. And so they provide a ton of education when you rent their RVs when it comes to how to maneuver the RV. They'll even do practice and drive tests with you. They'll walk you through everything. A lot of them provide video support so that you have some YouTube videos on hand that like show you how to turn on the air conditioner if you forget while you're, out on the campground or whatever that might be. So I think a lot of owners are through this like peer-to-peer platform are so helpful, which brings me to my next point, which is like the RV community in general is really helpful. Like you said, this like gig economy, like Curb and Turf, like RVshare, everyone who is listing on those platforms, like the understanding is that they're welcoming to newcomers and they want you to experience this lifestyle and they want to introduce you to it. I also find that at campgrounds, the people that facilitate these campgrounds are extremely helpful and useful and knowledgeable. So I wouldn't be too intimidated by it because it's a great RV travels has a great community and people behind it that are really, empowering others to try it out for the first time.
You just brought something to mind. Every RV has its quirks, right? And to have the owner as the expert on that RV, if we could contrast, it would be, well, let me go to this fleet where they're renting out 50 different RVs and each one of them has its own little quirks. And the salesperson is like, well, I can't remember whether, getting the refrigerator going it was quirky in this one or that one. So I'll just let them figure it out. Where the owner would know that. And then they're also accessible if something comes up.
Yeah.
And a question along the way. So another fantastic asset for being able to use RVshare. So for somebody who is dreaming of their ultimate RV trip, do you have some like maybe top 3 or top 5 tips for having an unforgettable, successful RV experience?
Yeah, I think my first tip, especially if you're newer to RVing or you've only done a few trips, is you don't have to go that far to have just like an amazing experience. I think it's something that I probably learned the hard way. My first RV trip was for work and for leisure. I rented an RV in Tampa, Florida, and kind of did this road tour where I was going and showing up on local morning shows with the RV. I was also like staying in. It was hard to keep clean and then be on a TV show. I also went and checked out some of our top destinations in Florida, like Ginny Springs, which is this amazing like blue clear pool in their coastal Florida. So, you think beaches when you think Florida, but they have some amazing state parks and places to explore within like, the inner part of Florida there. But it was, a longer road trip with multiple stops. And I think I found my next trip was like a bit more enjoyable when, we did just pick out a campground that had the amenities that was suitable for like our party, whether that was, lake or riverside, and you could just grill out and spend the day swimming and like the fresh water, getting out of the Texas heat. And they had a pool and, nice amenities to experience. And we did that for a long weekend, had the RV delivered. And I think that kind of allowed RV travel to be a bit more approachable and build our confidence for different types of trips in the future. And I don't think again, to cut back costs and just make it more affordable, like to be able to drive your own car to the campground an hour away and meet up with the RV, it's just going to make it a lot more easier. And I think another tip I have is like RVs come in all shapes and sizes. So when you're looking for an RV on RVshare, just to make sure, it sleeps your party, that you're going to be comfortable in that RV. RVs can configure and break down multiple ways. And so kind of just grasping exactly the RV you're picking out and how it'll be suitable for your family. I think is important. I've, had it where we've crammed a bunch of people in an RV before and it's maybe not the best experience. And next time we decided to get two. And so, just kind of figuring out what's going to work for you to make it the most comfortable and enjoyable experience for everyone.
One of the things that I asked for when we set up the interview was a little nugget of wisdom. And you shared, embrace the journey, not just the destination. Some of the best memories happen between the planned stops. Unpack that a little bit for us.
Yeah, I think it's something that RV travel has continued to instill in me over and over again with like every trip I've taken. And the first time it really occurred to me that RV travel is extremely special and something that I want to continue doing. Again, like I'll be the first to admit, I love a nice hotel room. I love turn down service. I would, go on a cruise. Like I like other types of adventure. I do international trips, but there is something special about RV travel that I think mixes in with your other experiences that just bring you a new perspective. And where I kind of first felt this as I worked with a Wall Street Journal journalist who decided to take an RV trip with his son. And, I was like, what's the story going to be about? Do you guys enjoy your trip? And the title ended up being See America with an RV, not just through social media. And his whole story was just about how he really rediscovered the America and how the news was and the social media rhetoric was just really weighing him down. And this just enlightened him so much more. And I just continue to experience that when I go on an RV trip. I've met so many amazing local people, and it's usually when we decide to just pull over at this roadside stop and grab some barbecue. Next thing you know, you're chatting up with these people who live in Terlingua, Texas, which is known as a ghost town and only has 300 people in it. And they're so interested in you and what you're doing here, and just really reframes your mindset. You get to reconnect with this other world that you don't get to see in your everyday life. And so, yeah, I think a lot of my most memorable points in the journey are due to the flexibility that RV travel provides.
If you love someplace, stay a little longer.
Yep.
If it's not hitting your vibe, then go on to the next one. But yeah, and that RV community, no question about it. Some of the friendliest folks that you'll ever come across. Maddi, this has been fantastic. You're a wealth of knowledge, and I love your sunny outlook. How do people check out RVshare?
Yeah, you can visit us at RVshare.com or find us across social media platforms at RVshare. We obviously list and rent a ton of RVs, but we also have, some great resources about just where to travel, how to get there, where to stay. So lots more up on our website.
Now, that's fantastic. And for those that are considering an RV share, check out curbandturf.com as well. Not only places to stay, but also free trip planning, free list of dump sites to dump your waste tanks, free notification of of rest stops to stop along the way, and of course, some unique places to stay. So I'm really excited about partnering these ideas. Two gig economy platforms that work nicely together and will give people a great experience going forward. Thanks so much, Maddi. This has been a delight. I really appreciate it. And go check out RVshare.com, check out curbandturf.com, make some real memorable trips from this RV experience. So thank you again, Maddi.
Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
We hope that you've enjoyed this episode of RVcast, and it has offered some inspiration for getting out and enjoying all the best that nature has to offer. Be sure to subscribe to stay up on the most unique RV adventures. And so now, hey, it's in your bucket. Get out and make some adventures happen. Thanks again, Maddi, and thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of RVcast. We hope you enjoyed hearing about our latest adventures on the road.
Don't forget, if you're itching to explore unique and interesting RV destinations, be sure to download the Curb and Turf app.
That's right, Curb and Turf, it's your go-to for finding those hidden gems off the beaten path. And hey, if you own property and you want to share your slice of paradise with fellow travelers, why not become a host yourself?
Absolutely. Just head over to curbandturf.com/start hosting to get started. Or reach out to us for more information.
Yeah, and you don't want to miss a future episode, so be sure to subscribe to RVcast so that you never miss a beat.
Until next time, happy trails and safe travels.
We'll see you on the road.